So as you folks are well aware, I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber, but I do talk about them from time to time, and I think now is a very interesting time to talk about Nintendo because we are rapidly approaching the month of April, and I'm kind of sitting here as a video game connoisseur of all platforms thinking to myself, what are we doing here in 2024? Like, it just feels like a very strange year for Nintendo, especially when you look at the software lineup, what they've said, what they haven't said, and a lot of the mystery surrounding 2024. Now, I'm not saying that this mystery is a bad thing. Mystery can be fun. Granted, it can lead to people making Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Direct videos every single day of the week because there's nothing else for them to talk about, but I like to look at the bigger sphere. I like to look at kind of what is happening and what we could sort of expect, because I think a lot of people are asking, what is Nintendo doing in 2024? Not necessarily in a bad way, not necessarily in a good way, but in an inquisitive way. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, because I think when you look at what they've done thus far this year, like, it's been very quiet. I think that's the best way to say it. When you look at when the Switch launched in 2017, even the lead up to the Switch, but especially the launch in 2017, it seems like every year since then, there has been a good bit of information about what to expect from Nintendo in that year. Granted, they usually do a quick turnaround time with showcasing a game and then releasing a game, anywhere from 6 months to a year, except for some exceptions such as Metroid Prime 4 and the Legend of Zelda games, but usually, you know, you get a good turnaround time here. You're shown a game, you're like, hey, this game's coming out between 6 months to a year. Everyone's happy, everyone's fine. Nintendo likes to announce their games at Nintendo Directs, however. And when you look at the Nintendo Direct that we've gotten this year, well, Nintendo themselves weren't there. It was a partner showcase, showcasing some upcoming third-party games that are coming to the Switch, and one game that is actually published by Nintendo, that, of course, being Endless Ocean. But as far as, like, new announcements, things that we didn't know about, things that we're supposed to be expecting for this year from Nintendo themselves, I mean, we got absolutely nothing. When you look at the software library for 2024, as far as first-party stuff is concerned, it's a bit sparse. I know people are very excited about some of these games that are coming out, but let's be realistic here. These aren't AAA big blockbuster games. They're kind of filler titles. Not to say that a filler title is a bad thing, especially when, you know, it's a remake or a remaster of a very popular game that a lot of people have sentimental value towards. But when you look at the lineup itself, it's like, well, okay, Princess Peach Showtime was obviously for a certain demographic of people, you know, probably a younger audience, while a bunch of 30-plus-year-old men convinced themselves it wasn't. You know, you take it at surface value. It's a fine game, you know, it's not offensive or anything like that, but, you know, it's not going to be a game that really sticks with you or anything like that unless you're probably a younger demographic. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, I'm kind of excited for this. It's been a while since I've played that game. I'm not excited about the price point, and I do hope that there is some additional content in the game as well, because if you played that game, you would know it's not really structured like the other two Luigi's Mansion games. Those games had a more of an open feeling to them, where this was more of just pick a level and then go through that level, and then you go back to your little hub. So I do hope they are able to expand upon that a bit. Maybe kind of, you know, just add in some additional stuff to make it worth that $60, considering the original game was a $40 game. And then, of course, we have the Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door game, a remaster remake of the GameCube classic, which in and of itself is a great game. Like, I remember playing that game on the GameCube. I really enjoyed that game. It does look like there's going to be some additional content in the game as well. But to me, this is kind of like a Super Mario RPG situation. I don't really think the game is going to light the world on fire or anything like that. And if you've played the base game, you've probably experienced most of what there is to experience in this game. So it's fine. You know, it's a good filler title. Once again, coming in at that $60 price point, but I think it's fine for what it is. And then Endless Ocean, I mean, you know, You didn't care about Endless Ocean. You know who cared about Endless Ocean on the Wii? Me. I had the first Endless Ocean game. I had the second Endless Ocean game with Wii Speak capabilities. It's kind of cool because I'm not someone that's going to take my ass down into the ocean with an oxygen tank because, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get eaten by a shark, or a stingray is going to take me out like it did Steve Irwin. R.I.P. Steve Irwin. I'm not going underwater that deep with an oxygen tank because the oxygen tank's not going to work, and then I'm going to die. But yeah, like, it's fine. But once again, it's not a game that, unless you care about having a relaxing game and going into the sea and looking at creatures and stuff like that, like, it's not a game that's going to light the world on fire. And that's it. That's our lineup. Granted, I was kind of out of order with some of these games as far as, release dates are concerned and stuff like that. But those are the games that we know about from Nintendo. And that's literally what we know for 2024. In the month of April, like let's just call a spade here. We're pretty much in the month of April, and that's our lineup. It's an okay lineup. Like, it's not bad when you look at other systems. Obviously, they're having their own issues kind of pumping out content for their game, for their, systems and stuff like that. So it's fine, but it definitely feels kind of a bit off. It feels like there's supposed to be something else that happened. Something else was supposed to be announced. Something else was supposed to be revealed that would maybe sort of offset the general feeling that you have right now with the company. Nintendo Switch Online, that's still plugging along. They just added F-Zero for the Game Boy Advance. Like, that's cool, but even that feels like a bit of feet dragging. You know what I'm saying? Like, cool, one Game Boy Advance game. All right, awesome. What happened to the other systems? You have all these other systems that you have access to. What we haven't gotten a Sega Genesis update in a very, very long time. It's like, are we fully utilizing what this, service should be capable of, especially at the higher up tiers? What are we doing for N64 stuff? Are we done with that? Like, I wish there was a bit more of a roadmap with that. And that's something I've said time and time again. But once again, it does feel like we're kind of in some weird transition phase where we're supposed to be potentially moving on to something else or adding in something else. And instead, you just kind of get this drip feed of random games that show up. And, for me personally, it's just not very satisfying. It's not a satisfying feeling to just randomly get something once in a while. I do like surprises, but I like a little bit of structure too. It kind of just depends on my mood. And like, for me, F-Zero, really, the only games I liked were the N64 and the GameCube one, so that does absolutely nothing for me. But even if you're a diehard F-Zero fan, it's like, well, how excited can you really get to play the Game Boy Advance version? I don't know. Maybe I underestimate the omnipresent F-Zero community. But when you look at Nintendo Switch Online, it definitely feels like something else is supposed to be happening. And then, of course, you have all these people out there, these rumor mongers, these every little thing that quote unquote leaks. They have to talk about every single thing. Like, supposedly there was supposed to be a Nintendo Direct this month because of what some person said about the Switch 2 being delayed. There was going to be an indie presentation in March. March is done. That's not happening. There was supposed to be maybe a Direct in March or maybe a Direct in April, but it's like, at this point, should Nintendo even consider doing a Direct? Because you have games up until June. It's not like any of these games that are announced at this upcoming Direct, whenever it happens, it's not like they're going to be coming out anytime soon. They're not going to be coming out within the next few months. The lineup of games is kind of already there. But then in the same breath, you have the questions about, well, what about the rest of the year? But I feel like those questions could be potentially addressed in June if you do a Direct then. And then, of course, you kind of have the big question and the elephant in the room, and that has to be the upcoming system. That has to be, when are we going to learn about this system? Because obviously, to me at least, it definitely looks and feels like this was supposed to be the year of this system being showcased. This was supposed to be the year where we learn about it. That's why you have some remakes and remasters, kind of like you see other Nintendos. I know, like, you know, look at like the 3DS when that was on its way out. You still got some smaller quality games, but you also had, you know, Samus Returns on there, which was a great game. And, you know, a lot of people were like, well, why didn't this come to the Switch? It's, you know, it's a thank you to the 3DS audience for supporting that system as long as they did. This definitely feels like the same sort of thing. You know, a Paper Mario remaster, you know, Super Mario RPG last year. These are thank you games to the community. Hey, these are really good games. We're going to spruce them up a bit and then release them. So, you know, it allows for a newer audience. But I feel like just, you know, kind of the general hype about Nintendo right now is low. I feel like it's lower than it's been in a very, very long time. A Nintendo YouTuber, someone who covers Nintendo stuff, like during the peak of the Switch, you could review some random indie game and get you know, everyone's interested, everyone's excited. But I just feel like in 2024, the mindset has kind of shifted with it. You know, there isn't quite that excitement with the system anymore because a lot of people are under the impression that it's on its way out. And maybe it's kind of overstayed its welcome a little bit when it comes to things like technical prowess, because obviously there's been a lot of changes in the industry since 2017. There's been a lot of new systems, a lot of new developers, a lot of new games, some of which come to the system, some of which don't. That thinking of, you know, how is this port going to run on the Switch? I feel like some of that luster has just been lost a little bit. And I think there is a chance that it could regain traction whenever this new system is out. But if we're under the impression that it's 2025 for the release of this system, like, what are we doing for the rest of this year? Is this just going to be a quiet year? And there's a lot of people that say this isn't a quiet year. They look at that software lineup and they're like, yeah, this is one of the best years ever. And I'm not one of those people. I think it's fine. It's serviceable. But I just feel like there's a bit of coasting going on right now. There is that comfort. There is that kind of swagger to Nintendo that, you know, oh, you know, we throw something out there and it sells. So people are obviously enjoying it, but I mean, I just don't know. It just seems like a weird year thus far for Nintendo, and a lot of these things can change, but you have to keep in the back of your mind that, let's say the next system does come out sometime in 2025. How much effort are they really going to be putting into the current Switch games? How much creativity, how much originality are they really going to be focused on with this system? Will it be just some more fan service stuff? You know, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, not Tears of the Kingdom, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, games like that coming to the Switch. Is that enough for people to be happy? Is that enough for, you know, people to be satisfied? I don't really know. I can only speak for myself. And from my own personal perspective, I would love to see those games come, but I'd like to see a little creativity as well this year, something new, something a little bit different. But let me know in the comments section down below kind of how you're envisioning this year, because you can look at these Nintendo YouTube channels and I mean, it's scraping the bottom of the barrel here. You know, there's not a whole lot to talk about, and I think more importantly, there's not a lot of excitement going on with the system because you don't know about things happening in the future. You don't know about, you know, games that are happening, and the games that you know about, how much can you really say? What is there new to add to the conversation that you weren't having during 2011 or 2012 whenever Luigi's Mansion came out? Same thing with Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. You can be an Endless Ocean channel. You can go in the ocean. You know, you could compare it to like a real ocean or something. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below, though, what you think about this situation, how you are viewing essentially what Nintendo is doing in 2024, what you expect. Do you even think that there's still a chance that the system could come out, the upcoming system, whatever it may be, could that come out this year? I don't think it's going to, but, you know, maybe you think otherwise. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit that bell notification as well. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers. I can't do it without you people. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.